Good evening. Welcome back to the Glazov Gang. Our gang members this evening, Nonie Darwish, the author of the new book, The Devil We Don't Know. Evan Sayet, America's #1 comedian. Excuse me, America's #1 conservative comedian.
And I may be America's #1 comedian.
You very well, because very funny man. And Tommi Trudeau, a humanitarian, unapologetic leftist.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Snugglebuns, here for his moral support.
Thank you. Before we get started, I don't want to interrupt you, but you know, the last episode we did, you were a little bit ganged up on me, and especially you, Glazov, and I brought a little surprise right here.
Uh-oh. Naked pictures?
I have something that I'm going to reveal about you, and I am just giddy about this, Glazov, and you're not going to like it.
Okay. What, are you doing a private investigation?
Oh, I've already done it, Glazov.
Okay, so is it going to happen, or what?
Oh, in good time.
Not right now?
All in good time.
Can you give us a hint?
All in good time, Glazov.
Okay.
All in good time.
Does it have some... have you hired private investigators?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
And we came up with something big.
Okay, so
and
is it
I'm going to
right
expose
now?
it.
Okay, but it's not going to happen right now.
All in good time.
Okay,
all in good time.
Okay,
Glazov.
anything else at the moment? Is it inside that envelope?
Glazov, all in good time.
Tommy, in the last segment, we were discussing Islam and whether it was dying or not. Also, the silence of the left. We can return to that, but let me ask you this. What civilization is rising and what civilization is dying?
Well, I hate to tell you this. Besides the theocracies which are going to implode on themselves, I see China rising quickly as the dominant force in the world. And sadly, even though I love America very, very much, America will take a far back seat to China. And my reasons for this are as follows. We owe just to China, we owe $1.16 trillion to China. That means each and every taxpayer in America owes $138,000 just to China. And you're paying interest on this. Every single day you're paying interest on a loan that each of you owes if you pay taxes to China in the amount of $138,000, each of us. Now, when we came out of World War II, we were able to dig ourselves out of massive debt because our manufacturing base was still right here in America. We made almost everything we consumed. Now, our manufacturing base has moved, ironically, mostly to China, the same people we owe the $1.16 trillion to.
Who do you blame all this on?
Well, it's been a complete mismanagement of our government, Republican and Democrat.
Is this a good or bad thing?
Do you know, well, here's another thing too, another point why China is going to take a far, far lead and be the dominant force in the world. According to the Organization for Economic Development and Cooperation, in reading, math, and science, China is #1 in the world. Remember, our children that we are educating are our future. They're the ones who are going to get us out of this. China, #1 in the world. They already hold all the cards. They have all the money.
Okay.
They have all the manufacturing.
Does this make you happy or sad?
Listen, the United States, who owes China $1.16 trillion, ranks 27th in reading, math, and science, trailing China by miles and miles and miles.
Okay, so is this, in your view, good or bad?
Well, besides...
Do you want to see the end of the United States and China be
of course, I love my country, but it's kind of ironic that the communist country is way
How do you
ahead
think
of
about
everyone.
how China deals with jihad?
I like how China deals with jihad, but I think most religious people would not, because China deals very brutally with any radical religion.
But then do you support those kind of methods being used against Islam here and Sharia here?
No. In general, I don't support. In general, it's very effective, but I do not like the abuse of human rights. However, it's a conflict, because what do you do about the crazy religious radicals?
Okay.
But you must also support human rights.
Okay, thank you, Evan. China rising, China taking over the world.
I don't think so. You already see a return of the many of the factories that were going over there originally, and the literacy rate that he quotes, that's a UN organization, I believe. I wouldn't trust what they're saying. Look, we are in trouble because starting post-World War II, this 1960s liberal mentality of let's punish the successful and reward the failed. Let's lower our standards so that everybody can get into college. The reason that our reading and our skills at calculation and whatnot are so low isn't because our children don't go to school. It's not because we don't spend a fortune on education. It's because we no longer educate our children because we became this liberal nation where self-esteem became more important than doing esteemable things. So we need to go back to some of the old ideologies. Let's pare down this debt. It's not going to happen overnight. But let's turn the tide on that.
How are we going to pare the debt down with Obama? What are you doing?
We're not going to with
What are you
Obama.
doing?
This is such right-wing propaganda. Do you know who?
Okay, just wait. Let
I don't want
why
Mr.
are you doing that? What are you
I
doing?
don't want him to
He doesn't want to
hear.
hear.
I don't want him to hear all this silly
I don't know
propaganda.
if he has ears. Does he have ears?
Are
I know
you
he doesn't
being
have a mouth.
You're okay.
I don't want him to hear all this
Okay,
crazy
Nonie, what do you think
right-wing
about this?
propaganda.
Well, I think if America declines, it's because there is a good portion of the United States intentionally does not want America to grow anymore, and they're intentionally bringing it down. They don't want to produce power. They don't want to, trade imbalance is okay.
You heard what Obama's EPA guy said.
Yeah, that we terrorism. We've already. There's no more.
Well, that's a different
terrorism.
thing. Yeah.
Is America in decline, however, with Obama in charge?
I don't think we're in actual decline. We don't see it, but the attitude that I see and where we're heading with the Obama administration is towards decline.
But is Tommy right that China's heading to the #1 superpower? You would say no, right? Tommy, go ahead.
And so would Stratford. Stratford would say no if you read his
Tommy, go ahead.
I think it's just amazing that you blame everything on the liberals when the person who led us out of the dark hole of World War II, who led us out of that horrible debt, who gave us the New Deal, and remember, happy days are here again, was a liberal, Franklin Delano Roosevelt. He did.
And he took the Depression, and we've had depressions before, and turned it into the Great Depression.
Roosevelt did not
Of
do
course he
that.
did.
You know what? What if President Obama did what Roosevelt did, something radical as declaring all gold, which he might have to do, declaring all gold the property of the United States so that our monetary system recovers. Franklin Roosevelt had to do that, saying the gold on your fingers, any gold is now property of the U.S. government. What if President Obama...
Why did you call him Chairman Obama?
I did not call him that. I called him President. I did
twice.
not. Just let me make my point.
Okay.
What if President Obama did the same thing? Something that radical, but yet he hasn't.
Neither Obama or Bush could do that.
So
Now,
Roosevelt
in
was
today's
even more
political and-
liberal.
Okay, let's
than
forget about
President
Roosevelt
Obama.
for a minute.
Yeah.
Do you recognize what Lyndon Johnson's Great Society did? Do you recognize what Obama is doing today in terms of our $15 trillion debt? Do you recognize when government interferes and tries to run the society, it destroys the society? It puts us into debt.
No.
Do you think that government should take care of people?
Yes. Yes, I do.
You don't think that individuals should take care of
No,
themselves in an
because then you
individual
have
household?
people dying
Who's gonna
outside
take
of
care of
emergency
government?
rooms. You have people
But that's what
starving in
happens in
the
England.
streets.
So you think-
That's happening in England.
Government doesn't produce anything. So who's going to take care of the government to give it the money to
Do you think
to
we should
take
give
care
up
of
our
others?
individual freedom and let Obama rule the country? In terms of, you believe that Obama and the government should have more power than individuals?
Then yes. Yes, I do.
And you don't
But-
see
but
historically the
if you
lessons of that?
discourage the rich from trying to be more and more rich,
And
then
discourage the poor
they're
from trying to
rich.
become
The
rich.
rich
Nobody
will
will
always
want-
find ways to get richer.
But not if there's a free
And-
enterprise
and-
society.
And the powerful, like
After a certain
Obama
point,
or
they'll stop
Bush,
that.
and the powerful won't always find a way to become more powerful than become a dictator. Why do you trust 535 people in Washington, D.C. more than you trust the people of the country?
Actually, I want to just say something. I would rather have the wealth in the hands of a company or corporations so I can sue them if they do
or
something
not buy
wrong.
their product.
Tommy,
Yeah,
let
or
me ask you
punish them
something
if they
before this
don't-
segment
but
is
if it's
almost
the
over. Tommy, let me
government-
ask you something to get back to Islam
can.
and how things work, because
Yeah.
I catch a little bit that there is a towing of a certain party line in you. Let me ask you this. Are you aware that if you, for instance, came out in support of some conservative positions, if you denounced, let's say, Islamic Jihad and Islam and its culture and religion, that you would be abandoned and excommunicated by a lot of your community and your friends? Do you recognize that?
Well, I would deserve that, for crying out loud. If I
Would you?
came out with something so anti against what my community believes in, where all my friends are, where my job is, where my community is, the things that we believe in our core, if I went against that.
Do leftists like each other as friends, or do they only are friends with each other in terms of their beliefs?
Well, we're together as a community, and we believe for the greater good of humanity.
Okay, so what if you?
So do we.
What if you?
No,
So
you don't.
Tommy,
Of course
what
we
if
do.
you agreed with certain aspects of what the conservative cause would be? Would you lose
You're
your
missing
friends
a
and
huge
community?
point.
Well,
You're
you know
missing a
what?
huge point
You know
here.
what?
Are you
That's-
somewhere afraid to lose that community?
Well, I would deserve to lose my community and my friends if I came out with, like, if I joined the Tea Party or something
But you
like
would
that.
lose your friends, right? Because your friendships are based on how you conform to political beliefs rather than to real
Well, so is
friendships.
the right.
No, it's
so
not.
is the right.
It's very
if you
different.
say
Evan.
anything liberal on the right.
This
No,
is a
it's
big
not
point.
true. It's not true.
This is a big point. Tommy has made. His side is absolutely convinced that you must blindly follow that side because they're the side that cares about human beings.
We do care.
Our side doesn't care, according to them, which is ludicrous. The question
You
is,
should-
how best do we help people?
You know them by their actions, and your actions are heartless.
That's just
We
ridiculous.
care about people.
That's ridiculous.
We're going to be back tomorrow
that's why-
evening for the third segment of the Glazov
You know,
Gang.
you're
Join
very-
us then.
you're